Welcome back to the Sundays with Wendy podcast, Dr. Charlene Hudson.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I don't know what number episode this will be for us, but we have definitely done a few in the past. We did some on the Healing Tribe, and we did a whole season 5 on energy medicine.
That was so fun.
I know I go back and listen to those a lot. But you were also, very near and dear to me, as a board member of the Benjamin Goldberg Foundation, and our relationship goes way back. The time you moved to Virginia in 2014.
I know, 11 years. Crazy.
So I just want you to come on today and share. You have had some adventures over the last year, and tell us all about it.
Well, I'm crazy. I moved my 4 kids, 2 dogs and 4 cats over to Austria where I have family and I had studied medicine over there. It was absolutely different than what I had expected. I had a job lined up working at a rehab facility for stroke victims and chronic pain, back pain, headaches, migraines, those sorts of things. That ended up not working out because of visa issues and not being able to get my license in Austria easily, which is kind of sad because they need doctors desperately. So I ended up doing, a program that I'm actually still completing. It's a version of an MBA. It's a Master's of Innovation Management. And that has really helped me to see the world differently. Got me out of my locked-in position in medicine and research-based and evidence-based and popped me out of the matrix, so to speak. That was one thing that was really, really neat. And the people that I am taking the classes with are far younger than I am. And that's been delightful because it's helped me connect more deeply with people in their mid and early 20s and really see what's affecting them and how they see the world. And it's a lot freer than you and I see the world. Everything's a lot more fluid, and that's really been fun. And the other thing is that the Europeans, especially in Austria actually, are much more accepting of alternative medicine and energy medicine, and you can talk about it in everyday life, and the kids can talk about it at school, and it's not weird, and they're not like, that's the granola mom. It's really cool. And I could talk about it in centers of physicians too. I would say it's probably about 20%, maybe even 25% of the physicians in Austria are open to and are practicing alternative medicine and energy medicine and Reiki. And it was like, for me, I found my tribe. It's really neat. I was involved in 2 energy circles, and to just experience the healing that occurs from that, and just really the loving environment and open for those sorts of things.
I just love that for you. I just feel so fortunate for you and your work because I could come in and just talk to you and feel seen and feel heard. And when I would go to my other physicians and in the oncology world, I was an alien to them, really. So I just stopped talking about any of it. But you were always there for me in this really safe space. I have to say, I was diagnosed almost 4 years ago, and I was on a call the other night presenting something, and I said, because of the integration, and this goes to the foundation talking about healing arts, but this is under that umbrella, that this is why I'm here talking to you today.
Absolutely.
This is so important. And you and I have so much fun in our sessions. I always ask you to bring in lasers and microcurrent for sometimes very vain reasons, but it all works, right? But on your website, you have natural healing for your body and soul. And I love that you so boldly put that on your website because it attracts a patient that would be in alignment with that.
I hope so. And that's how I feel. A conversation heals so much.
Mhm.
Just an open conversation. Even if I would prescribe no medicine at all, I would do absolutely no treatments. If I just sat there and really listened to the patient,
Mhm.
which I do, I think that in and of itself brings healing.
Mhm. Something's being cleared, right? And you and I talk about this, not only physical energy centers and meridians, and I'm not a doctor, so I can't speak to that, but also other energy fields outside the physical.
Right. And there's lots more at play than what we tune into a lot of times in just a conversation, but just the ability to feel safe for a lot of people allows, let's call the work to be done,
Hmm.
and in terms of natural healing, when you look at the word natural, it's interesting because it means from nature, from the earth, but colloquially, we've sort of taken the word natural to be like, oh, that's the way it always is. That's the easy way. And so I like to play on both of those on
Hmm.
the website because, yes, it's from the earth, it's the energies that are here to help you, but it's also easy and it flows.
There is something when even you say the word herb. I went to go see my herbalist, and there's a picture actually on my social media, and I'm standing on a ladder in front of his whole wall of herbs and tinctures and everything. And my body felt so safe. I'm so glad I got to actually be in his space. But yeah, so I kind of follow that. Yes, I will do what I need to do, but the integration is really key. I know I have an incurable cancer, but there's a difference between curing and healing. And I'm looking to heal at this point, not cure. And it's keeping me alive and vibrant and thriving. A couple years ago when I was doing the podcast, I even said to, I think it was one of my board members, I don't know how much more I can talk about healing, right? I mean, maybe I've said it all, but it's kind of fascinating because I think we're at the tip, it's the tip of the iceberg, right? I mean, there's so much more to healing than I ever thought. And I'm having more conversations and it just seems to be expanding, right? And it was,
Absolutely. I
is
think,
that the way you're seeing it?
yes. More and more in this country and others, people are doctors, physicians, physical therapists. They are seeing, okay, here's where we used to stop. These tools aren't working anymore.
Hmm.
How can we broaden our scope? They're looking at social prescribing because
Hmm.
you know what? That one visit for 15 minutes or 7 minutes you get with a lot of the HMOs is not going to heal you. And I love that the Ben Goldberg Foundation is supporting that and teaching physicians and people in the healing arts how to do that, what's available in the community, because I think that's a huge part. And the key factor that I keep taking away from the experiences that I have with other physicians and practitioners is that no one heals alone. We all heal as a team in conjunction and in community. And, you know, and I did appreciate that in Europe. We don't have that as much in the States, although I think it's coming. Okay, I'm a doctor, you're a physical therapist, you're a therapist, you're a naturopath, an herbalist, whatever. We're all healers, and we all need to work together to help heal this person, patient, dog sometimes, if you're working on a team in veterinary medicine. Everyone has value, everyone's input counts, and everyone gets listened to.
Hmm. Yeah, we don't heal alone. That is for sure. And I have learned so much from you over the years. Is there a pivotal point in your practice or your work where you kind of knew there was more than just allopathic medicine had to offer?
I think it's been little bits and pieces. I got pushed over the cliff when I was in Europe and I couldn't practice medicine. I was like, oh, okay, it'll take you 3 years to get your license. Oh, you're only here for a year. Oh, bye. um, and that forced me to figure out ways to heal, not in person, not in the country, you know. Um, and luckily, I'd already been practicing energy medicine, and I was able to develop those skills. And I got together with a lot of other healers from all different backgrounds, from functional medicine to marketing specialist that uses Reiki and runs energy circles, And what I discovered was that the true healing comes outside the box. I've always known that,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't until I got pushed outside the box that I was like, okay, I guess I have to do this full time now. And it's been amazing.
Yeah, sometimes I like to think it's curiosity, but I think it's just the curiosity that's driving you to look at it a different way.
And the other thing is to be able to take a situation that quite honestly looks holy crap. Like, I can't get my medical license. I can't work in Austria. How do I do this?
Mm-hmm.
To open you up to new possibilities, and it can be a huge blessing. And this is a fun story for you. I used you in my final presentation
Oh, really?
for one of my brand strategy classes. We had to create a pretend company that in theory we can do once we are graduated. And my company is called Hug. And our tagline is No One Heals Alone. And it's a platform where physicians, practitioners, and all that kind of stuff, and patients can really connect. And so I told the story of how we helped heal your neuropathy in your foot with the tuning fork.
Oh, wow.
So I stood up in front of all these marketing managers and my classmates and this big room in Vienna, and I had my tuning fork with me, which of course, already was like people are like, oh, what is this crazy lady doing? But in my presentation, I was explaining this tuning fork empowered you because here you are having cancer, and a lot of people freak out and they're like, oh God, and they're just listening to the doctors and they're not taking control of their own illness and their own healing. But the tuning fork, because you were able to use it on your foot and help heal the neuropathy, gave you the power to help heal yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the blessing of the healing arts and social prescribing and all of that outside of the box therapies, is it gives the patient power.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I have it now. I think you gave me one or bought it. I can't remember. But I have one and I don't use it all the time, but just recently, because of one of the treatments I was on, my thyroid number was out of whack and they wanted to put me on medicine. I take none. And so I refused. And I said to her, I said, no, I'm not going to take the medicine. I think I went back in to see her. And I said, I'm revving this thyroid right back up, and I'm taking the tuning fork to it, and I have some paprika cream. And again, look at me like an alien, but you know what? The thyroid actually, either it was a weird reading on the lab, or it got fixed by the tuning fork and the cream. I don't know. But anyway, it was empowering to me. I didn't have to be on medication for the rest of my life based on one blood test, and maybe it healed. I don't know. A little bit of a mystery, but still fun.
But you're taking the reins, and I think that's the thing that I have to keep putting out there in my practice. And that was one actually difference that I realized that was maybe not so positive between Europe and the United States, is patients in Austria and Germany are not empowered to do their own healing, to ask questions. The doctors, the older types, are not okay with you even saying, well, why did you prescribe this medication? So that was interesting to coach people just from a personal level, like, okay, why don't you just ask? You have dizziness since you've been taking this medication for 2 months. Clearly, it's not working for you. You need to go back to the doctor. And they're like, oh,
You know, I, I sometimes it's almost shocking the way we're just kind of very passive in the way we look at our health.
yes,
We have to invest in our health in the same way we invest in our homes and our automobiles and our jobs and our lives.
it's very true. And people who eat healthy and exercise, they've bought in and they understand that.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
they know how much better they feel when they take care of themselves.
So now that you've had this experience and working on this advanced degree, how do you see yourself working now or in the future?
That's a good question and it's evolving. But for right now, I am building a repertoire of energy medicine classes
Mhm.
to teach other people, practitioners and patients, the skills that I've learned and about the energy body and how to work with it on a remote basis. And that's really fun. And I'll be offering several energy medicine classes, usually in sessions of 3 for personal empowerment, healing, and to be able to work with your energy systems and truly heal.
Now, do you have a story to share? Like, I know you had some beautiful testimonies on your website about some of your patients.
Well, just yesterday, I had a patient come into my office, an older guy with very low blood pressure, and I had to work with myself to not say, oh, I can't work on you because your blood pressure is too low. And I had another massage therapist working with me. And I said, okay, you know what? A patient I've had in the practice for about 4 or 5 years. Let's let's see what we can do. And we did osteopathic, we did massage, I did energy work in the background. And by the time he got off the table, his blood pressure was totally normal.
Wow.
And I thought, huh. Sometimes I surprised myself. I was like, oh, that worked. Cool. And I checked in with him later in the evening and it was still normal. So,
Yeah, I think we're just beginning to understand how all of this works, and I want to share a story with you that happened a few weeks ago. I was in working in the garden, and I had a metal pail that had been in the garage for a couple of years, and I was transferring some soil, and there was a little tag on it that I didn't take off, and it had a metal clip in it. So when I reached in to grab the metal clip went under my nail, and I looked down and I could see my nail was split and there was a little bit of blood, but I just something just told me just put your hands in the earth. And so I did. And I couldn't necessarily feel anything, but I just thought, I'm not seeing the blood, maybe it's fine. And so after a minute or two I went inside and I wasn't looking at it, and I just ran water over my hands, and I grabbed a paper towel, and when I looked down, the nail, everything was completely fine, like it had never happened. But I saw the nail split and I saw the blood. And I just sat there for a minute and I was like, either that was a spontaneous healing, my body healed that quickly, or like I jumped a timeline. I just don't know.
that is amazing. And for those situations, I'm grateful.
I know. And I was just like, holy, what if we really can heal our bodies that quick? I always think we can. And where the blocks, like I realize I am blocked about some things, but it was kind of cool.
I always think about the salamanders that can grow their extra limbs. And I think that's so cool.
Or recently I had a it was my second port, and then I had a scan and there was a blockage, and blah blah blah. But what they saw on the scan was it really wasn't an issue because the capillaries had formed around it for the blood to continue to flow. So they were like, Wendy, you can keep your port because, and well, I got rid of the port anyway. But I mean, now your body just figured it out on its own without intervention.
That's the part that I try to teach people is that even taking an antibiotic, that's not healing you. It's getting the
Mhm.
numbers of bacteria down so that your body's innate healing process and immune system can attack enough of it and heal. It's always about the innate healing ability of the body.
And then it's always fascinating. The liver is such a sympathetic organ too. It can regenerate, right?
That's so cool.
I know. Poor little liver. You want to take care of it. Maybe that's why I detox so much. Take care of my little liver.
Yes.
But tell us a little bit more. You said energy circles. So I know I read a book one time called The Power of Eight. That was really fascinating. Tell us about these energy circles.
Well, each one of them is different because they're led by different people, obviously.
Mhm.
But trying to think what the core belief out of each one of them is definitely is everyone has value. That has to be held in this energy circle because you're basically creating, as you get together, this energy flow in
Mhm.
between all of you. And one of my favorites ones is taught by my cousin's aunt, Tanta Hermy. I love her. She's so sweet. And she plays the singing bowls beforehand to like clear everybody's energy and get everyone grounded. And then you just sit in chairs around a circle. I'd been in one other energy circle before, but it wasn't quite as powerful as this one. It was a little bit different, more structural to like deal with patients and help heal that. But you can feel the energy build, and I was almost swaying back and forth with the energy and how it built, and it felt like this circle of love and delicious energy. It
Mhm.
was just to sit there and
Mhm.
participate, and everybody's just sending their love and best energy into the circle and circulating it, and how much more powerful we are as a group
Mhm.
than alone.
When two or more are gathered, right?
Absolutely.
I know when I listen to a podcast, one of my favorites is called The Next Level Soul, and he has a lot of people on and channel and talking about many of the things we're talking about, but um, they will channel on some of those episodes, and at first I was like, gosh, does the energy still come through? Right? Like if you're listening on a replay or it's not live, and it does. I mean, I think maybe the intention of the person they're channeling is not only for that moment, but for the people who will listen later too. So, I mean, I think we don't, again, probably don't understand with the technology and we have, it's opening up new ways to deliver information and be together.
Throughout space and time
Yeah. So,
and distance.
yeah. So an energy circle could be just a group of people jumping on a Zoom, right?
Absolutely. And I'm trying to organize something like that right now.
Awesome. And then I listened to another woman. She's an astrologer, but she has it's a non-tech meditation that they do every day at a certain time, and it's based on I think she's in London, so I want to say it's 2 o'clock, but it's non-tech, so everyone just does it. They do it at their home wherever they are for like 15 minutes, and they pray or concentrate on some of the world events or some of these other things, and I think that's really cool too.
And there's actually research on that type of meditation, the new medication, where they studied mostly transcendental meditation.
Mhm.
I can't remember what the numbers of the groups were, but they would meditate on a city at different times. So everybody would, let's say it was 50 people, would click in and they would meditate on Detroit. This is just an example. And
Mhm.
for that day that the people had meditated, there were less hospital admissions, there was less crime. And you in Detroit, like if you follow the police records and things like that, and it's like there's this untapped outside of the box thing that we can harness. Let's do it.
Yeah. Why not? And it's empowering. I think we don't really give ourselves enough credit that we have more control over our own bodies, our own health. And it's generational too. I know my parents' generation, they just do what the doctor says. They're going to take the medicine and, whatever they need to do and don't question. But to think that transfers power to someone else over your own health. I'm not a big fan of like anyone telling me what to do, really. Like government, like I don't want them involved in my health care or my health decisions. I mean, I will do it because I have to, but I like to be in the decision making. I like to be part of
Absolutely.
the process, not someone saying you need to do this.
I
You
agree
know,
with you.
so
That's the best. I think that gives the biggest potential for healing. And I loved one of my mentors who's passed over, who you knew also, Sandra
mhm.
Grace, always said, they're not rules, they're guidelines.
Oh, I like that. That is soft.
Translated that to into everything she did and what she taught and the
Mhm.
energy medicine that she taught.
I know she was an amazing teacher. I saw her for over a couple years. And when I was in sessions with her, I just felt like she was teaching me. She just didn't do it. She really explained what she was doing, and I learned so much. I just quoted her recently. I shared something that she taught me that I do often, and her work lives on and through us.
Absolutely. I have goosebumps.
Hmm. And I was just writing, if you look at the word health, the root of that word is heal.
Yes.
And I never really, as much as I've talked about healing, I never really saw it that way until recently. I think I was just underlining something. And I was like, geez. I feel like it's something we're supposed to do. You know, we're responsible for our own healing.
Exactly. And then what is healing? Right? Probably has a different definition for each person, but for me, it's coming back to your center.
So I think you answered the question before I could even ask it. So as many times as I have had you on the podcast, I'm in a little bit more of a rhythm now. So I'll ask a question at the end. And I don't think I asked you on the prior episode. So I'm going to ask it again, but I think you already answered it. Dr. Hudson, what does the word healing mean to you?
It's to me, it means coming back to self and wholeness. If
Hmm.
there's this column that's you, column of light, let's just say, right? And through illness, emotional trauma, or whatever, you're actually over here. You're not here.
Hmm.
Healing is bringing that part of you back in to the column, and then the column's stronger and brighter, and you can do what your little heart desires.
Hmm. So, do you have any advice for someone who may not know much about energy medicine? I think we have to get to a point sometimes where we're sick of being sick or sick of being tired, and maybe someone's in that spot and they don't know about energy medicine. They don't feel comfortable talking to their current physician about it. Can you give us some advice?
Well, meditation
Hmm.
is probably the first thing that you can try, although that's daunting for a lot of people. But just staying in your own energy. There's a technique that I teach where you have a golden matrix around you and you pull just your energy into this golden matrix, and everything else that belongs to other people or other things stays on the outside of the matrix. And just teaching people that and letting them feel what it feels like to just be in their own energy and safe in this little golden egg, I think allows a lot of people to realize, like, okay, they don't have to listen to everybody else's advice. They have to compare it against what resonates in their little egg first.
Hmm.
And that's the confusion that I think a lot of people get into because they've heard, okay, well, this drug works or this herb works or try this or try that. But if you really get into yourself, get in touch with who you are at your core, and you ask yourself, okay, what do I need right now to step into healing?
Hmm. And the answers will come.
It will come. or they'll be presented to you. You'll
Maybe not
know.
that day, maybe not that second, but they
No,
come.
well, that would be cool if that would
Yeah.
happen. We're up for that. But if, it's a feeling for
Hmm.
me. And so that's how I can teach it is like when you hear someone talk about the next therapy, whatever it be, maybe it's some new physical therapy you could try, and you have this like, not this fleeting excitement, like, oh, this is the next new thing, but this like, I have to do that. And you really feel drawn towards doing that. That's your inner knowing to step forward. But a lot of times you have to clear all the
Hmm.
junk and come back into yourself in order to be able to hear that little voice.
And I think that beautifully says what you've done for me over the years. I could come into your space and get out something, and it was cleared. It felt lighter when I left or gone. I thank you so much, and I appreciate all the work that you were doing. I feel like you were a trailblazer in some of this space. So, how can we find out more, or how can we get in touch with you?
Well, go to my website, beachosteopathy.com, but also I have an
Okay.
Instagram that's updated weekly and has all of my classes, which is also under Beach Osteopathy. And we will soon have a Facebook page as well.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Dr. Hudson. Thank you for this insight and all that you share in healing.
Thank you, Wendy.